Hey guys, it's your boy. Okay, welcome back to the channel. Um, so today I'll be reacting to this character I came across earlier on, and obviously his name is Doctor Umar Johnson. Just came across him earlier. Came across his content, and I thought, why not dive a little bit deeper into his character? And I came across this episode of video he made with Nick Cannon, and from what he's been saying, he's a little bit pro on the monogamy or pro black family. He basically wants to see the black family united, essentially, from what I've understood from some of his previous content. And I believe Nick Cannon, being Nick Cannon, obviously, this will be a very interesting discussion. So yeah, let's dive into it, I guess.
Couch. I mean,
Yes,
your
sir.
off is a union where two become one, and where one is weak, the other can be strong. To be equally yoked, you guys can grow and build something together. But as an individual, I've at this point don't feel like I will ever meet someone who would benefit me enough to say that, oh, this person is going to be my wife, and I would like for this person to, have everything that I have. I want to give this one individual all that I've spent these 40 some odd years building up to. One, even in my setting and scenario, I do have multiple children, multiple people that I have to provide for. So even to say I need to dedicate my time, energy, and finances to one individual just doesn't make sense. And that's just from me. Obviously I live a life that most wouldn't understand. I don't expect anyone to understand. And in the average person that's in a low functioning social media space will have so many judgments and feel like they know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and throw terms on.
I feel triggered for no reason. Why did I catch a stray, bro? Anyway,
To what they believe I am. But I even take myself out of that scenario and ask you this question. Most men of today's age aren't, especially when they've already established who they would like to be and, built their world or to be as financially secure as they need to be, or as we call a successful man, look to the institution of marriage of like, why would I do that? We hear brothers like 50 Cent say, I made a lot of mistakes, but I've never made that one. And when we think of what the institution of marriage is, how does it really benefit today's successful man to make you say, all right, I do want to dedicate myself to one woman?
well, the short answer is it doesn't. Well, yeah. Being realistic, it doesn't. But then again, I guess it's a expectation put in on by the society, as in, oh, you have to, because it's the norm. It's become the norm, I guess.
And that, we can both be deemed high functioning.
I would say in response to that I agree. A man, a very successful man, in this age of overnight divorce, has a lot to lose getting married.
As I said, it's not very beneficial. It's not beneficial to anyone that's made something of themselves to be, I would say, almost burdened by that type of uh, situation. Because, as he put it, an overnight divorce isn't a good thing. Because obviously, with all the issues that comes with it, and yeah, headache and all that, you're better off avoiding the whole situation, I guess. But what do I know?
Married. However, I think the reason why we still have to consider the union is we have to reflect on what the purpose of marriage is in the first place. And marriage is a institution where we regulate the
I think. Well, I think the only benefit I might actually see is maybe for the kids, it gives them a decent environment or an example of what a mature or grown person. I don't know. It just gives them a guideline to follow, and it also benefits the community, like community and everything, where it just keeps it going. I guess I don't know how to explain, but yeah.
Conduct and intimacy between men and women to make sure that the products of those unions, which are the children, are raised in a structured environment so that they become psychologically healthy individuals who can contribute to the maintenance and perpetuation of the community as opposed to being agents of its destruction.
Right.
So marriage is necessary to guarantee that children are being raised in the safe spaces that they need to become the healthy individuals that the community depends upon to further itself. With that being said, we don't necessarily get married because it is good for us, but we get married because it is good for the community. With that being said, in her
is it because it retains, like it just keep for the community keeps the resources amongst itself? Like is that the reason he is saying that? That would be my question to him.
conversation with Brother Cam Newton and his people reached out to me recently, so I may have this conversation with him as well. But in Dr. Cheyenne's conversation with Brother Cam, he said, my fear of divorce exceeds my desire for marriage. And he said, and I may be paraphrasing a little bit here, that he was taking his time to find the right woman to build with. And Dr. Cheyenne, rightfully so, saw that as a contradiction and she went right in.
Right.
And she said, paraphrasing, how can you be patient about looking for the right woman, but you're impatiently making all these children with unmarried women? In other words, if you're going to take your time and find a woman, slow down and take your time with impregnating them as well.
Right.
To that point, I understood her point. Now, here's where the irony comes in, and I'm going to bring it back to you for a question.
Right.
Oh, it's like if I understand correctly, it's like when normal folks say, "Oh, yeah, I want a good girl a certain way without no kids and X, Y, and Z." Yeah, and yet they go around impregnating them. I guess that's what he is saying. And obviously, I'm gonna assume the contrary is when obviously women in general say, "Oh yeah, I'm single by choice because I'm waiting for the right person," and yet, when someone comes along, they're like, "Oh, he wasn't the right person. He had this not going for him. He had this and that." So I'm guessing that's what he's going to say. But yeah,
Cam Newton flipped it, and he said, "Okay, you're evaluating and criticizing the fact that I have 8 children."
I'm assuming most women are assuming they're not really searching for to settle down, I guess, because I don't think they want to, or I don't think it's something they aspire to. But it's just because it's imprinted in the society, in society that at some point we have to settle down or whatever. So I'm guessing that's really it, I guess.
Children by 3 different women.
Right.
And I still want more children,
Right.
even though I'm being patient in finding my mate.
Right.
But you're 41 and haven't had any children. To what can we attribute your behavior?
Right.
Here's the irony. Her answer to Cam was exactly Cam's answer to her. She said she was taking her time. So I'm looking at this as a psychologist, right?
Right.
And then Cam comes with another question. He says, what age or how young can your potential mate be? She mentioned 26, 27. I said, as a therapist, bingo. I said, I know why Dr. Cheyenne Bryant isn't married. Dr. Cheyenne Bryant has a fear of abandonment. And the reason why a 26, 27-year-old spouse possibly would be appealing to her is she could parentify herself in that relationship where she becomes the mommy and the mate. And in being the mommy and the mate, I'm able to coddle my young partner. And in doing so, I get to control his behavior.
There's enough nuances going on here. Like there's a lot being said, and yet he hasn't said that. Like I believe that I believe the role is mostly switched because men tend to like to take charge and control most often than not. Like most, they prefer to model the perfect woman, should I say, and they don't like to maybe go for women that have already got the experiences or are already modeled in a certain way with their quirks and whatnot, I guess. So I guess it goes both ways, but I don't know.
Therefore, preventing the abandonment that I fear. When I looked at her conversation with you, you asked her the same question as well. Well, what about you? And she talked about how she almost jumped the broom 4 times.
She's been engaged 4 times.
So once again, my therapy lights went off, and I said, here it goes again. The reason Dr. Bryant never managed to jump the broom on those 4 occasions is because her abandonment issues that she honestly put out there are so strong that she has a tendency to want to over control her mate as a means of preventing the abandonment. And in her,
and I believe it's legit because I believe most people tend to self sabotage, I guess, and after going through certain, I guess someone would say traumatic experiences, they prefer to avoid going through that again, which leads them to trying to control every stage of being more closed, I guess, in their stances. But I guess it is part of it.
her over control of these men who do not want to be over controlled.
And obviously, the more you try to control someone, the more if the person puts, it's one thing if they want to be controlled, but the more you try to control someone that does not want to be controlled, that obviously perpetuates or pushes makes the resistance even more, or them to even get further away, I guess, from you, essentially increasing the chances of them abandoning you. So yeah, I guess
She either pushes them away or they leave of their own volition because they don't like the manner in which she wants to control the relationships.
Look at these doctors doctoring on doctors.
Here's the point that I'm making though. And this is an all love to Dr. Bryant because she's brilliant. I love my sister. I believe that Dr. Cheyenne Bryant is quite possibly the same personality type as Nick Cannon and Cam Newton. Wow. I believe that all 3 of you are serial monogamous with narcissistic tendencies.
Oh,
wow.
First of all, serial monogamy and narcissism go together. Because when you look at the narcissist, grandiosity.
Yeah.
Too important to commit one's emotional resources. To not want to invest emotionally. When I look at a woman that beautiful without a child, the marriage I can understand. It's slim pickings for sisters. That beautiful without a child, that was deliberate.
Mm.
And I believe that she may be an example of one of our sisters who says they're waiting for the right one, but may not necessarily be waiting for anyone at all.
Mm.
But because it's expected of me as a black woman to get married, I need to have a justification for why I am not. The question that I have for you, Brother Nick, do you think that you attract women who are very much like you because the expectation of emotional investment is very minimal from those women? In other words, they're fine with us going half on the baby, and we're going to raise this baby together. Beyond that, I'm not looking for much more from you, bro. That's the sister, right? Do you think that you may attract women who are looking for minimal emotional investment from their partner because if she expected that, you would be forced to move out of your comfort zone and actually have to experience without reserve what it really means to be intimately involved and emotionally responsible for a woman?
Absolutely. But I say that in the sense because I think the institution of marriage is no longer valued at that level for.
But even if it's not, that doesn't necessarily have to do with you and the way in which you engage queens.
Yeah, but like I said, because the type of women that I'm normally around or attracted to are usually, as we call them, the independent woman, the woman that's on the grind, the boss, the one that's about hers. And even like, because again, it's very interesting because I'll take it back. We all have stages of life. I was at a certain stage in my life a few times early on where I wanted to do it in a traditional setting the right way. I was the young Christian brother, early 20s that wanted a relationship to work so much that I was willing to be celibate with my partner and do pastoral counseling and we gonna do
and because those situations didn't turn
work
out the way you wanted them to.
As I was saying, obviously, once you go through a certain experience, obviously you learn to avoid them altogether, I guess. So that's basically essentially what he's saying right now, I think.
Did you put a prison around your heart?
Oh, absolutely. That's exact. And then that's what I'm saying. And that's early stage. Then I get to a stage where I feel like I actually got it right.
Okay.
I got married to my dream girl. I'm living the life in which I want to live. And then when life continues to happen, you then, because speaking from experience, I'm like, oh, wow, I thought I had it right. And I still fucked it up. It still didn't work out.
Right. And so at some point.
Now as a man in his 40s, I'm looking to the women that I now am currently attracted to, most likely.
This is the first time I've seen him posture himself correctly or somewhat got interested into the conversation, I guess.
He's not going to be someone who still has those aspirations, hopes, and dreams as the young ladies I was looking to.
They do, though.
And I'm not looking at the 20-something-year-olds. I'm not looking
even
at
in the 40s.
But they're gonna come with some life. They're gonna come with some experiences,
and
or what we call.
Come still wanting life.
As I said, most men don't like when when women come with their baggage, so to speak. You get me? So essentially, that's what he's saying. He doesn't want anyone. He gets to the point where you don't want anyone with extra baggage just because you've already got your own. That's
love, though.
I don't think love and marriage actually go together. I mean, they don't have to go together.
They don't have to go together.
Yeah, marriage
is found a woman who still wants love. Are you able to reciprocate, or are you at a point in your life where there should be no expectation of the woman you meet for emotional reciprocity? Is Nick Cannon still able to reciprocate emotionally, or are you beyond that? And if you are beyond
that's
that,
an interesting question.
do you communicate that honestly to the women you date?
Absolutely. I think,
So
like
you
I said,
tell them, I'm beyond emotional.
I'm emotionally unavailable.
You tell them that.
You know what I'm emotionally available for? My children.
Why do you say that?
Because they're the ones who need.
Oh, you said emotionally available for
my children.
Okay, you didn't say you were not emotionally available for the children.
The only people that I am emotionally available for are my children. At least the priorities.
The priority is fine, but when you say only, you're saying you have no emotional availability.
Not no emotional, because because again, then we have to define the emotions. Because going back to being a hopeless romantic, I love the idea of being in love and I
believe every single man is a hopeless romantic, I guess, because every single guy growing up believes in that, but then they get hit with reality, that they get hit with the truth, I guess. So it then skews the perspective. Then it makes them rethink what is real to expect and what not to expect. So I guess
actually on a level of I'm dedicating all of me to all of you. I'm not in that space to be able to give my all.
Would you still consider yourself a hopeless romantic?
Because yeah, absolutely. Because
if you still
the surface of it, romantic. Now I'm talking about sending flowers. I'm talking about the intimacy aspect of it, but not the actual work. I understand that hopeless romantic is a surface feeling.
Okay,
I get that. And even to that sense of, because I think that's obviously we got a lot to unpack even when it comes to the idea of narcissistic behavior.
Yeah.
Because I think that term has also been deemed
overly used.
Yeah, and a toxic term but not understanding, because it's associated with so much negativity when it comes to, arrogance and rage and all of those things. You think narcissist, you think Donald Trump, opposed to like someone who is actually just looking to self-preserve, looking to take care of oneself and love oneself. I gotta love me to the best of my ability.
Yes, sir.
And after I love me, I have to then love my children, because I'm in a scenario currently that this is my situation. There's no fixing whether you want to call it high functioning or high value. I can't think like that, because I have the duty as a father to be the best provider emotionally, financially, physically, to the children in which I am responsible for. So anyone that I have a relationship or intimate with, they have to understand that's where my headspace is first and foremost. And then it goes all the way to that idea of when we think about, the divorce rate, specifically for Black adults. Divorce.com says it the best, that is the highest divorce rate and the lowest marriage rate when it comes to our community, to where even in that, as if this is what you're telling me about me and I'm in that scenario, I failed already in that space. Why would I continue to try to go for something that, one, I don't really desire just because society desires it, and then two, when I know I can't win at that game emotionally or mentally?
Is it possible that you have convinced yourself that you can't win at the game?
No, I don't think it's something you convince yourself. It's just you just witness it with your two eyes, knowing that the game is rigged, bro. The game is set for you to lose either way. It's either you succeed with the chances of doing this very slim, or you fail with the chances of doing this really, really high, because obviously the system is just built. It's just built for you to fail, and I understand what he says. So it's not something you convince yourself, because with that data saying, with the data even proving that, the divorce rate is really, really high, and the success rate is really, really low. Obviously, I've not checked the numbers, so I don't know, but yeah, it's just built for you to. Plus, there are incentive put in place for her to gain at that game, makes it even way more disadvantageous for yourself, I guess.
Because you have a fear of trying. In other words, is
But he just stated that he's already tried it before. So he's already tried it already, so clearly he's not afraid of trying. It's just that he's his experience. He's at least giving it a go. That's what he is saying. And obviously, once it fails, you don't just carry on playing the game, I guess.
there an apprehension about giving genuine love with
I believe clearly there is an apprehension. There has to be at some point. You have to be like, oh, um, this marriage thing is not for you, I guess.
a woman an opportunity because you fear the failure before you try?
But when you say genuine love,
Are you a romantic coward?
but see, like, I think I overly love. When you say genuine love, like, I believe, and I know you have
Right.
similar.
That was a very leading question. Man said, are you a romantic coward? Very, very leading.
Ideologies, and where, like, I believe a man can love more than one
I agree with that.
individual.
But whether we're talking about one or more,
Because I
It
believe
almost-
everybody in my life, I believe I love them, I take care of them, and they get all of me. Well, they get a lot of me, and I'm a giver, a pleaser.
but do they get your heart? In other words, I kind of feel like,
right,
okay, that you might bury your feelings. If I spoke to the women you dated, would they tell me you're emotionally unavailable?
They would say I'm all over the place. They would say I'm
but if they had to give me,
it depends what day.
More so or not so, which way they leaning on your emotional availability?
What are we rating on the scale of the average man? I believe I'm highly emotional available. Now me,
I said, what would the women
what I
say
have,
about you?
what I believe that I have to give?
No.
You know what? First of all,
no.
It depends on time and point.
No.
You see what I mean? That question was very leading. It's interesting.
At the beginning of the relationship, they're going to say absolutely.
If I spoke with your queens and asked them in the course of the relationship or just now, would you say Brother Nick is or is not emotionally available to the women he dates?
Absolutely. You know why? Because I'm doing the work. Because I know I'm doing things like this.
But doing things does not equate to emotional availability. That's like the father, stay with me.
Okay.
That's like the father who pays all the bills, everything's taken care of. But guess what? The wife doesn't feel the love. She feels the care. And one of the mistakes we make as black men, Nick.
You see, that's why men are not built to show are not built to prove. They're built to more do stuff that say will not maybe scream at you that, oh yeah, this person loves you, but it's there. Like it's subtle, but it's there. But women just are opposite. They like to do show, tell. You get me? So yeah.
Nick, is we often equate providing with love.
Okay.
Women and children don't see it that way. It's like the parent who buys their children everything, but don't spend intimate time with them. It's the husband who buys the wife everything, but don't spend intimate time. So is it possible that you've been substituting genuine, intimate connection for things? Because you often have said here so far, you've been very heavy on the I provide, which is good,
right?
But that's the first. I believe that's the first role of a man. I guess is to provide and protect. That's the first two roles, I believe. Well, any other thing is just additional support, I guess.
But I'm not just financial provider.
But I've heard very little about the emotional, the intimate, or the romantic connection.
that all that what he just stated are the roles of the woman, I guess. Or personally, in my opinion, I should say, those are like the emotional and all those stuff are for the women to control. That's why there was the because an emotional man is not really pleasant, I believe, to be around. I don't know.
With the women you've made children with?
So
Have you starved them of your intimate love?
such a great question.
Yeah, an emotional man is not very, very. It's not even a good thing to be, in my opinion, because it becomes very. The dynamics becomes very skewed because there needs to be a balance. Not there, even for the children, there needs to be a balance where the child can see how to regulate their emotion from the mom and how to deal with the real world logically from the father for the man, I guess. So it's very it's not how should I say, it's not right to require those elements. Obviously can require some form of element from the guy or the man, but it's not very fair to require for him to bring it to the situation. Maybe adds it to his personality. It's very helpful, I guess.
We ain't do we dealing with heart, not
Such a
bank
great
account.
question. So this is what I have to ask before I can actually give the answer, because
Yes,
again,
sir.
I need to see, the litmus test. I need to see the
Mhm.
measurement. Um, and I only really know. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but um, the book, the five love languages.
Okay.
If that's the construct in which we're dealing, because
Okay.
that's there's obviously there's gift giving, which probably feels like the
That
time.
sound like you.
Yeah. Like I'm with that. I can do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
That's easy. Words of affirmation, which is, if this is how we're defining love, because I have trust issues and abandonment issues, I need words of affirmation from my partner. Now, and then there is quality time, which that's one I know I struggle with because I don't have a lot of that. I'm
Okay.
spread thin in multiple areas. So
Okay.
I know that's always the space. If you did ask anyone that I deal with, they're definitely gonna bring up the quality time is probably the one. If they say I need more of.
Yeah, but it's understandable for what he does, because even in general as a man, if your time is what you actually use to, I guess, gain assets or gain provision for your family. Your time and your strength is what you use to provide. So you can't. It's either you give them your time and lose on the provision, or you provide and you can't have it all. I guess that's what I'm saying.
That.
Okay. Okay.
And then it's not affection, but it's no. What's the one where you touch physical touch?
Intimacy. Yeah.
Physical touch. So physical touch, I'm great at that. like that's probably one of my strong suits. And then the last one is acts of service, which again steps into the root of um, providing. You know what I mean? And even so, if those are the five, if that's our measurement of love, which so far that's what psychology has deemed, how those are the five things. I would say the one space that I struggle with is quality time, but all of those other ones, I'm active and focused in those spaces of one, attempting to become a better partner. But if there was one space where someone who's dealing with me at this big age that I sit right here, it would be quality time. And in that sense, where I'll even go one step further, because I've done the work and I kind of know I'm a runner. I avoid. I flee when conflict approaches. So I know how to then, that if I'm looking at my flaws, I cut off. So my partners in that sense, and because I have options, I can say, you
I believe most men do when it comes to the emotional side, I guess, because uh, I believe it's very difficult, I would say, or say strenuous for men to emotionally regulate constantly, because then it becomes detrimental to what you're trying to build, if that makes sense.
know what? I'm not gonna put up with this low frequency or this, and therefore, but those would be the only thing. Other than that, available in those
correct.
scenarios. Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
So, and then again, because the session is already over. Dr. Umar broke it all the way down, but we're definitely going to continue in our.
It was very interesting discussion between the two. Obviously, I have to dive a little bit more deep into Dr. Umar's content, I guess, because he sounds very eloquent, very it sounds like he knows what he's talking about, I guess. So yeah, if you made it this far, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It's a boy, okay. Catch you at the next video.